and welcome back to my channel. Teacher Kim here. So, I just had the most interesting class and I had to come and tell you about it. Of course, by the time you see this, it's going to be a few weeks from now when I post this video. But, while I'm thinking about it, I got a what would you do situation. So, here's what happened. With ITutorGroup, sometimes, well, not sometimes, if the student is having IT issues, they will do everything they can to fix it. But unlike other companies, they will not cancel class. You still have to continue with the class. So we get into class, and the student is like a minute late. So she had trouble getting into the class to begin with. She gets in class, and she cannot see the materials. IT tries to help. She still can't see the materials. She tries, and the whole time she's trying, of course, what do? I'm talking to her, asking her questions. How was school? Just normal, getting to know you stuff. So, what would you do at that point when you have to teach someone for 25 minutes and you don't have slides? First off, let me know in the comments what you would do, and then I'm going to tell you how I handled it, okay? So, how would you handle this? This is a tricky situation because, again, with ITutorGroup we do get rated. So I don't want to get rated low for something that's out of my control. I have no control over whether or not the student can see the materials in class. I have no way to fix it other than asking IT, which they were already working on it. They refreshed her, they kicked her out and brought her back in the class, they refreshed our whole slides, they did all they could. So what would you do? Well, the one thing I always say, and I've said before with props when I did a props video, is always, always, always have something nearby. Always have a whiteboard. So here is what I did. The lesson was just a review lesson. Luckily. The only new skill was past tense verbs. So, and I did not have a lot of slides. So here we go on a good thing. If I had 25 slides to get through, it would not have been quite this easy. I would have just done what I could. But with only 9 slides, it made it easier. So the first thing we had was, that I could see on the materials, was a picture of furniture. And I wanted her to name the furniture. So here's what I did. I said, "What do you see?" She said, "Chair." I said, "How many?" 2 chairs. What do we do with a chair? We sit in a chair. So all of this was output. All of this is, she can't see the screen, but she can see me. Alright, so then I pulled up the next thing. Alright, what's this? She said, "A sofa." I said, "Yes, a sofa or a couch." And then I sat here and I wrote couch, sofa, couch, because it is a sofa or a couch. And I did the same thing with the bathtub, with a lamp, with a clock, just pulling up different items that were on our page, would have been our lesson, but she couldn't see. All right, so I went through that, fairly simple. Our next slide was, we were supposed to categorize those items into things we sit on and things we don't sit on. So instead of, since she couldn't see the screen, I just made a chart. Things we sit on, things we don't sit on, drew my line, and then we listed them. So she named the chair, the sofa, a bathtub, and I said, "Well, do we sit on a sink?" That was one of our items. No. Do we sit on a clock? No. Do we sit on a lamp? No. All right, so we made the chart. Now, the other thing I did was I didn't just do this. I also put the answers on the slide. So if she can go back after class, she can see the correct answers. But she couldn't see anything. I tried putting pictures up there. I tried everything. And she could not see any of it. So I did what I could and just helped her along with my whiteboard. The next part was questions and speaking. That's easy. I just asked her the questions. Where do you travel? How often do you travel? What do you do when you travel? How did you get there? And so we talked for a few minutes on that. Again, fairly simple, just have a conversation. I did type the questions on the board for her, for when she goes back she can look at them, but I did not worry about typing all her answers. I did some, but not all. The next one was where we got into past tense verbs. So again, trusty whiteboard. We talked about how we add ed to verbs. So I put visit and then we added ed. So all she could see on my, again, she could not see our board, her screen, our lesson. So I wrote visit, and then I gave her an example. I visit the doctor. I said, when we want to change this to what we already did, we add ed, and I underlined it so she could see it special. Ed, I visited my grandmother. So something we already did. So then we practice with arrive, because this one's different. It only has the E, and we talked about how we add just the D. Alright, so that was fairly simple. The hardest part, again, about this whole thing, besides the fact that she couldn't see the whiteboard, was having to sit here and write while I'm teaching. Then we had 4 sentences. So I wrote all 4 sentences, and I gave her a verb like travel, and she had to put it into past tense, traveled. And she did awesome. She got all of them right. After that, again, it asked for us to decide if a verb was past tense or present tense. And so we went through and I asked her the words. I wrote them on the board and I showed them and asked her the words. And she was able to answer all of them that are past tense: asked, mailed, cooked. And she did great. She's a very smart student, so luckily she could follow along. The next page was the one where I did not end up doing the whole page. It was asking to match questions and answers. So I would try to prompt her, what did Billy do? Did he bake cookies or did she travel by bus? And that was hard for her without seeing it to understand. I'm trying to say he did this. Billy is he, and he did this. I tried a second time with what did you do? Yes, they did, or I cleaned my room. And she said, I went to school. And said, okay. Well, I just gave up right then. It's too hard to try to do this without writing it all down. And there are 8 questions and 8 answers. It's way too much to try to write. Way too much class time wasted watching me write. So instead of going through those, I reworded the questions to ask her, what do you play? Do you play sports? What sports do you play? Where do you travel to? What do you do when you get there? So I asked her the same questions, but different. Obviously, I'm looking for her answers versus the answers on the board. Now, on my board, because again, she couldn't see them, but on my board, I went ahead and marked the answers. That way, she can go back and look at them and, oh, okay, and see how they go together. And by this point, we're almost we have 2 minutes left in class. Last page. Have you ever visited a different city or country, which we've talked about the whole time, and what did you see there? So she told me she got to see farms and fields and all kinds of things. I was like, whew, we made it to the end. Thank goodness. So, what I did in the situation when the student couldn't see the materials, but I still needed to teach, I used my whiteboard. I modified the lesson to fit the student's needs. I used the whiteboard to give her examples and practice it. And we made it through. So my question is, again, what would you do? Let me know in the comments below what you would do. If you think that I should have done something different, please let me know. I was going spur of the moment, off the cuff. You have to kind of be thrown into a situation and you have to figure it out. So how would you handle it differently? Would you do some of the same things I did? Maybe not with ManyCam necessarily, if you don't have it, but would you pull props, asking questions about things you have around you? Would you have pictures? What would you do? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. I hope if you like the video, please like, subscribe, comment, let me know something, and I will see you next time, okay? Bye!